So I think that's why it's all coming to a head this week. I mean, to me, it's a very important week because we know it's hard to catch a falling knife. As you're pointing out, support levels are being broken.
Markets around the world are crashing, including crypto. They call this a falling knife.
But so if the knife is falling, and you like catching falling knives, I know you. So the question is, at what point do you catch said knife?
The question is, do we keep dipping, or is now the time to buy? Comment your opinion below. Curious to see what you think.
I think a lot of this depends on whether financial conditions in the U.S. start to tighten.
So many experts right now are calling for emergency rate cuts.
This may surprise you. I'm calling for 75 basis point emergency cut in the Fed funds rate with another 75 basis point cut indicated for next month at the September meeting. And that's minimum.
Let's say that Jay Powell came out and before September, an emergency meeting comes out and he lowers the rate. Does the market rip or does the market say, oh, my goodness, it's worse than we even thought?
I'll tell you, I think that there is mass manipulation going on right now.
You think that we're going further south on this market, don't you?
I do, Stuart. Last night at around 12:05, if you follow astrology, Mercury is in retrograde.
Mainstream media is not reporting what really caused this crash. We will. That's why you subscribe for daily videos keeping you informed on everything going on in crypto. So, what really caused this crash to happen? It wasn't Satoshi. Every time something like this happens, I always see the uninformed saying Satoshi wallets are active, Satoshi is selling. And while we do see old wallets reactivated from time to time, Satoshi Nakamoto is not selling his coins. And it isn't BlackRock. Everybody is saying that these Ethereum ETFs have been a failure, BlackRock has pulled out, BlackRock is selling. That's not the case.
I see value in having an Ethereum ETF. As I said, these are just stepping stones towards tokenization. And I really do believe this is where we're going to be going.
The Ethereum ETFs have been less successful than Bitcoin, but they are still some of the most successful ETFs in history. They are approved, and that's significant. Because they are approved, Ethereum, like Bitcoin, has entered into a new paradigm.
I was a skeptic. Yes. I was a proud skeptic. And I studied it, learned about it, and I came away saying, I believe Bitcoin is legitimate.
So BlackRock isn't selling, quite the contrary. BlackRock hasn't sold a single sat. BlackRock, Fidelity, Grayscale, not even Michael Saylor has sold on this dip. On-chain data confirms this. Amazing the class of buyers in these ETFs. They buy and then they hold. Kamala and Joe are not cracking down. They haven't really signaled any change from their previous stance. We do know Kamala seems more interested in being more fair than Joe on crypto, but we'll see.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been.
So no, these two are not the reason for today's dip. Donald Trump is not the reason for today's dip. The most famous man in the world says he in fact wants to support crypto.
For too long, our government has violated the cardinal rule that every Bitcoiner knows by heart. Never sell your Bitcoin, right? Never sell your Bitcoin. And so, as the final part of my plan today, I am announcing that if I am elected, it will be the policy of my administration, United States of America, to keep 100% of all the Bitcoin the U.S. government currently holds or acquires into the future. We'll keep 100%.
The fact is, the mainstream media is presenting you with many boogeymen right now. Most aren't getting it right. The real reason crypto markets are crashing are as follows, and make sure you follow for daily market updates. Today's dip was caused by, number one, the Japanese stock market crash. The Japanese stock market just suffered the biggest single one-day drop in years since 1987.
The only reason why the Japanese market is up so strongly in the last 2 years is because the Japanese yen has been very, very weak. Once it reverses, you got to get out, right? And I think they're all getting out right now as a result of that. So an indication of whether the Japanese stock market is going to do well or not is just looking at the yen. And today you have the yen falling down to appreciating to 146, which basically means that there is still a lot more pressure on the Japanese stock market, unfortunately.
This has reverberating consequences that we're seeing throughout the world. What else caused today's crash? War in the Middle East. Iran is threatening war. Israel is threatening war, bombing 2 schools.
Israeli officials are bracing for a potential attack from Iran in retaliation for recent assassinations of the top Hezbollah and Hamas leaders. The attack could reportedly come as early as today.
And in fact, there are rumors that Bibi Netanyahu's cabinet is revolting on him. So tumultuous times in the Middle East causing stuff like this to happen. In addition, a weak U.S. jobs report has been released. U.S. hiring fell sharply in July, a setback for the economy. Tie this in to the lack of Fed rate cuts. Now, rate cuts are still expected as early as September, maybe multiple rate cuts this year.
A reduction in our policy rate could be on the table as soon as the next meeting in September.
Rate cuts will happen, and when they do, I expect a huge rebound. Some experts are even calling for emergency rate cuts right now before September. Listen to this. This analyst teaches finance at Wharton School of Business. Also, he is the chief economist at Wisdom Tree. Interesting thoughts here.
This may surprise you. I'm calling for 75 basis point emergency cut in the Fed funds rate with another 75 basis point cut indicated for next month at the September meeting. And that's minimum. The Fed funds rate right now should be somewhere between 3.5% and 4%. Let me give you very simple logic of my position here. At the June meeting, the Fed has said that the long run Fed funds rate, when inflation reached 2% and unemployment has come up to 4.2%, should be 2.8. That's the normal. 2.8 is the normal Fed funds rate. Well, on Friday, we blew across the employment number. We're at 4.3. That even argues for a lower one. Now, as far as inflation, we're at 2.5%. We've gone down 90% towards the target on the inflation rate. We've overshot the target on the employment. Those are the 2 targets explicitly mentioned by the Federal Reserve. All right, and how much have we moved the Fed funds rate? 0. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Let's say that Jay Powell came out and before September, an emergency meeting comes out and he lowers the rate. Does the market rip, or does the market say, oh, my goodness, it's worse than we even thought?
It rips. It welcomes it. Absolutely. Because it's so far behind the curve right now.
And big picture, this dip was caused by overall weakening momentum in the uptrend of crypto. It's important to realize that there is no fundamental flaw in Bitcoin or crypto that would cause this. Instead, this is just a reaction to external temporary factors. The question is, buy now or wait? Try and catch the falling knife or wait for lower lows? Expert analyst Tom Lee, listen to his thoughts.
Bring in Tom Lee, managing partner, head of research at Fundstrat Global Advisors, as well as a CNBC contributor. In times like this in the past, it always would help to know, Tom, whether it's a sharp, scary spike down, which a lot of times the other side looks just like it, or people are hoping for that so much that they don't see that it might have longer to go. Do you get the feeling that this is not going to be a major sell-off?
For now, I think it is the former that you described. You know, we have over 3 days, suddenly markets reversed and, Japan down over 20%. And as you're pointing out, the NASDAQ could even, decline further. Declines like that are generally symmetric, but you have to watch the VIX. And when the VIX peaks and starts to roll over and fall down, the recovery can be just as quick. It does seem like, as we look back, a lot more this is because of the surprise hike from Japan. And the sort of knock-on effects from there. If that is the primary source of the reaction, I know it's going to be tumultuous for markets, but for the U.S. economy, it's not necessarily bad news, and I think that's why we can balance. The last time the VIX was at this level was April 2020. So for an investor, that tells us kind of where we are, which is we know markets are nervous and they have to unwind, but it's not been a bad time to be thinking that there is a big opportunity on the other side, because once the VIX starts to calm down and markets have already corrected, we know that there's opportunity.
Right. I mean,
knowing that, of course, it's August, as you point out. I spent a lot of time talking to Mark Newton, our technical strategist, over the weekend, and I think that there is a reprieve coming this week. Like, who knows? It could even be today, right? We could open down huge, and then after 11 a.m., we could reverse higher. But I kind of agree with Joe that this is still August, and I think that markets traction really doesn't come back till October. So between now and October, it's maybe a range-bound market at best, but there'll still be opportunities.
There you go. Please do not be fooled by anything else. Don't be fooled by the misinformation that's out there. I actually sent this video to my friends who always worry during times like this. You should too. People need to know this. I actually bought the dip, but this is a continuing story. We'll have more on this tomorrow, this week, so make sure you subscribe because we keep you updated on the whole crypto market on a daily basis. Cryptocurrency is the future. So I'll see you tomorrow. Hey, if you're going to Token 2049 in Singapore in September and you want to be a part of a great side event that we'll be a part of, we're going to be part of this. I'm going to leave a link to this in the description. Sign up for this. Join us. This is the side event to be at. Web3 with Toby and Brent. This is going to be so big and so worth it. They're not even plugging it as a side event. They're saying this is going to be the event to be at. But Token 2049 is great in general, so hopefully we see you at this.